Hey guys, what's going on? Kanal here, Bulls on Wall Street. I want to take a second and talk to you about a trade that we took today. And this is one of our favorite types of trades, and something that I think you guys really need to get down is this is what we call a PR earnings breakout. But why the setup is so powerful is that you're marrying something that had fundamental catalysts, hence why it's up 123%. Usually with the biotech stock, it's because it had some type of favorable news out. What it is, it doesn't really matter. What we're trying to do is understand the fact that there is some news out, and then we're looking to make sure that there's a nice chart pattern. So you can see here, this is an IPO type stock. It's been out for about 2 years, which makes it even more powerful. When you get PR earnings, a good PR or a good earnings, and it's a recent IPO, that stock has a lot more room to run because people start thinking of like, hey, this could be the next Microsoft or Dell. And of course, that's never the case. But that's like kind of psychology that runs through people's heads. And so those tend to be more powerful. Also, newer IPOs or newer issues have much lower floats in terms of how many outstanding shares that can be traded on the market. And so they just have a tendency to run higher. But then you can also see with the stock like this thing is breaking out to levels that it has never been, right? And so when you get a stock like that that's moving clean, it's up in air, it's up in space, there's no level of supply or no baggage that can hold a stock down. One of the things that knocks down a stock is what? Levels of supply that may come into a stock overhead that will push a stock down. But when a stock breaks out to new highs, you don't have that level of supply. And so now you've got a stock that's going to move more clean, it's going to move more crisp, and it's going to move with more predictability than if a stock was gapping up on some news, but it was entering some type of congestion zone on the chart where it's not clean. Like there's levels of supply on top of it, and so that can knock a stock down. And so you can see with this stock today, the volume was monstrous. You got 14 million shares. I ended up making about $3,200 on it, trading it back and forth a couple times, but it ended up being a good trade because the pattern was just so clean. The pattern was so clean. And so we have this breakout on the daily, and then you can see what's happening intraday. And guys, if you don't have scanners or something like that, right? Even on TC2000, like, you can run it after the first 30 minutes, right? Do a scan for your top gainers of the day and start flipping through them, right? And start looking for the stocks that are flagging or making moves, and those are going to be your plays. And so, you may miss something on the gap, but you can run a scan 30 minutes in the market, see what's consolidating. And so you had a really, really nice push in this and a nice pattern. And I actually, this was a little bit of a tricky stock because I made a mistake on this originally, where I took a loss. And so, as this thing was consolidating, somewhere in this zone over here, it was right around here, I added around $18.20, 1,000 shares, and it busted up almost to $19. And then it broke back below the VWAP. And so I thought once it broke over the VWAP, it was going to go. And so I had 1,000 shares. I was up 600, $700 on it. And then it completely reversed in one candle. And it got down to, under 18. And so I actually ended up selling it at 18, thinking that, there was a reversal in the cards. And that was a mistake. And the reason it was a mistake was because, well, I had my 9 EMA and this price support right here, so I essentially sold it on support. I was being a little bit too overreactive. That will happen at times, but my thought process was clean in that, I thought the breakout was going down and then the breakout failed. And it happened so quick, guys. It was at 19, and then like seconds later, it was under 18. And so in the heat of battle, I just ended up selling it. So I ended up taking a loss on the trade, getting out of my shares close to 18 or whatever. So I ended up losing $300, $400. And then lo and behold, it still held the 9 EMA. And once that happened, I realized that I had just made a mistake, that, I was being a little bit overreactive, that the play was still valid. I just managed my risk wrong in terms of my stop placement. You need to give it a little bit more room. And so you can see this thing was curling right up its 9 EMA. So once I realized that, and the range started to get tighter. See right here, the range is pretty loose. But as the range starts getting tighter, that's your telltale sign that, this stock is ready to go. And so once it broke, I added this thing like 1850. And as soon as it broke, and then it was off to the races. You know, we sold some into the push towards 19, and then it got up to 20, and I sold a little bit more into the 20 spot. And then when it flagged out here with the 9 EMA giving us cover, that was just enough consolidation to re-add some shares, and I ended up re-adding some, and then it was just off to the races. You know, it was essentially just scale out along the way, and you know, we had a nice push, and I ended up getting out the rest of my shares at 23.60. So it ended up being about a $5 gain on the last few hundred shares or 200 shares, and then we did take a shot later in the day on this thing, and it didn't work out in terms of the flag. And by this time, so I took a small loss on this one, and then later on it ended up making a move towards high of day. But overall, a good trade, but I would have had probably more money in it if I just stuck to my rules. And so a couple things that just reframe is and summarize this is a PR earnings breakout play. They work when you get a great daily chart, you get the proper flow, you get volume expansion, then you want to wait for your pattern. Where I made the mistake on this was, number one, I didn't wait for the pattern to apex and really tighten, but the other part was that I overreacted. I didn't stick to my stop loss, and I preempted essentially my risk management plan, and so I ended up having to take a loss in what should have been just nothing. That was where I made a little bit of mistakes. So I probably left some money on the table, but otherwise a fairly good trade. Hope you guys learned something. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. I'm on video like this all day in my chat room. You can see my face, my screen share. I'm clicking buttons, all that fun stuff. And we're actually going to have next week an open chat room where I'll be on screen share trading in front of everybody all day. So feel free to come inside and come and hang out. You'll be able to see what I do. I'll be singing and dancing all day, and hopefully we'll learn something. So leave me any comments on the YouTube if you have any questions, and take care.